Okay, I'll show you some more stuff. This is what the slinky spring looks like. 5300. Got 4 zeros, 8364. These things are sometimes on eBay, sometimes at some other places. Looks like a big slinky spring here. This goes on here and can turn one way and tends to grab the other. So it's slipping on here like this normally, and this is super well greased. This is the shaft. This end here is screwed into the drum. That's a left-hand thread. It goes into the spin basket, the drum. This is the copper piece, which is to the seal. And this is a 25 millimeter in diameter, so that fits some ball bearings that are 25 millimeter in diameter. Let me go. Okay, the ball bearings on there. That's what the ball bearings look like. This is actually one that came out of a washing machine that was in use for 76 to about 96, and it still works. It's just a little bit noisy. The sister bearing for this, actually, the balls actually came out of it after 20 years. But this other one, if you're on a desert island, you could still use it. It'd be noisy as can be. It's used as a standard bearing with a 25 millimeter bore, and it slips on the shaft. I'm not going to put it on there because it's really tight. This is the snap ring that goes on, and this is the business end where the slinky spring goes on. There's a hub that goes on this piece. That keyway shaft goes on here like this. It's screwed in place. Slinky springs down inside here like that, and this is down over that. This one bearing is right here off the end of in the tub. So you got two bearings that are in the tub, like here and here. This is support that holds in the frame of the washer that holds the in the tub. The piece that spins, of course, the drum is tied to this piece. This is a left-hand thread. Now, on the one that's on the torquer motor, which came out, I want to say in the late 80s, early 90s, this is different. Since I think they screw it in place and tack weld it in place, because this was self-locking and the other one reverses both directions, so the part is actually different. This is a replacement shaft I'm going to put on a washing machine here fairly soon. This is the course where the seal goes. These bearings here are standard bearings, have been around for 60, 80 years like that. There's nothing really special about them. Biggest thing is on the seal. If the seal here ever leaks, you're going to get water. It'll tend to get in one of the bearings and it'll tend to get noisy. That's one of the failure modes in all washing machines. And if it fails, it's going to be the front guy failed. This is the rear one. What happened on this one from 76 is this bearing in the front tended to fail and started to get louder and louder and louder after 20 years. And this other one in the back still, it's noisy as can be, but technically it's failed because it makes a lot of noise. But if you had to in your desert island, you could probably put it in something and get some more use out of it. This is a 6205 62052 RS for rubber seal. This one's actually made in Russia. These springs here like this, there's one failure mode. When you put this on here, it's on a washing machine. The hub on here, there's a centered iron piece when this goes through here. And you've got to have a new hub that's on here. It's got to be, with time it can wear down. If it wears down, it'll tend to grab the slinky spring. And I actually had that happen, and that's why this particular one failed. is because of the hub piece was such that this blue sheave got slightly closer and closer to this, and it started to go through and grab this spring, and then it would go through, and it wasn't freewheeling. And so what happened, this edge of this spring here actually ate into this and literally chewed through here. That's how this guy died. That's a totally bizarre failure mode, and it doesn't really tell you that much in the repair books about that. But what happened is the hub wore down. There's a centered iron hub that goes through here, and that wore down a little bit, and so this was actually constrained. Now, knowing I could have gone through and probably ground off a little bit of one of these turns and used the old hub, but I was trying to be a penny pincher, so I used the old hub, and it worked for about a year, and then it tended to grab this and made some weird noises and ended up tearing through this one potato pulley. So live and learn. These shafts here, they're kind of an oddball thing. They're available every now and then on eBay. They almost never fail. Mine, another one of my videos on here, this is actually worn on here, so it can wobble back and forth. And what happened, it had so many years use, after 20 years, it actually wore this down. This type of thing of a roller bearing like this on the shaft is the same thing, sort of like a axle on a 80s Camaro or something like that, or which you have a roller bearing on a shaft on like this. Rear axle bearings like that. This is, when you take this off, you can put some lubricant on here like that. If you use the wrong kind of glue or grease, it tends to fly out and go all over the place. So you're supposed to use some glue or grease that has lead in it, and for high pressure, which is hard to find because it's toxic, whatever, and it is available sometimes. You can use a high pressure grease today. If in doubt, you probably need to go through and check on it after a while, make sure it's not having any issues.